Welcome back, everyone. We just finished reading and singing Over in the Arctic Where the Cold Wind Blows. And so we're going to make one of our Arctic animals today. We're going to make this beautiful little Arctic fox. And if you don't have a kit, what you would need is a paper plate, something for your eyeballs, something for your nose, and about 6 cotton balls, glue and scissors. So in our bag, we're going to pull out our paper plate, which I have folded for you. And the last things in our baggie are cotton balls, a little black pom-pom, and 2 wiggly eyes. The only things you need at home are your glue and your scissors. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut along the line where I have folded for you, and that's going to turn into our fox's body and his tail and his head and his ears. And you're going to say, well, what about his legs? And if you remember, several weeks ago when we used the paper plate before for our groundhog, I told you to save that strange piece of paper. We're going to cut our legs out of this. So here we have our fox's body, and this is a half of a circle. The plate is a whole circle. Half of the circle is going to be the body. Then we're going to take this half circle and fold it in half, making it a quarter of a circle or 1/4 of a circle. And as you can see already, I think you already see where the fox's head is coming from. So we're going to cut along this line. And so if you're to the point where you can start talking about shapes and fractions, you will see that 2 half circles make a whole circle. And then if you cut that half in half again, it still equals the same amount. It just looks a little bit different. So here we have our fox's face. And then we're going to use where the plate edge comes up and is like a ridge. You're going to cut along that line, and that's going to be the tail. Our tail. And then we're going to take this part, we're going to fold it in half, making kind of like a little triangle, and we're going to cut this along the line, along the fold, and this gives us our fox's ears. So we almost have all the parts cut out. Now we're going to go over to this part of this extra part of the plate, and we're just going to cut where it curls up. We're going to cut that off. And then we're just going to use part of this, and we're going to make 4 legs. So all you have to do is cut straight down. This is great practice for your little friends. What you parents, grown-ups, what you want to do is go ahead and draw the line on it for them so they can see where they need to cut. And then you have 4 legs. So if you have hot glue that would be a good way to attach the fox quickly. If you have a stapler, that would be another very good way to staple the fox's head onto the body and the fox's ears onto his head. But if you don't have those things, you can use glue. You just have to remember that it will take a little while for it to dry. So you'll want to probably glue if you're just gluing, glue the head and the ears on before you start doing the fur. And so you would be gluing or stapling the head about here onto the body, and the ears, you would go along the bottom edge and glue them on here. And you'll see that when I'm gluing it, it's going to not dry right away. And then the tail would also be right along here. And then you would put the legs down here. And with the glue, it's not going to stay together very well right now, but we have our finished product. And I'm going to show you what we do with the cotton balls to get him to be nice and furry and fuzzy. So remember, the Arctic fox's coat, or his fur, is very, very thick because it protects him from the cold. So in your pack, you'll see that you have cotton balls. And what you want to do is just take the cotton ball and pull it apart. Sometimes you can unroll them, and sometimes you just pull them apart. And so you want to stretch it out so you can cover this whole fox so he has fur all over his body. And so you do this with all of your cotton balls. And one of your cotton balls you might want to keep aside for the legs. And when you do that for the legs, you'll take your cotton ball and you have it all stretched out, and now you just rip little pieces apart. And you want 4 of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's for my legs. And the rest I'm going to put up on his head and on his tail. When you're doing the hair, the fur, for the face, you might want to go ahead first and glue his eyes on, because you're not going to have the fur on his eyes. You wouldn't be able to see. And for his nose. And the nose goes right at the bottom part, the point. His nose goes on. Wiggly eyes can be hard to get up sometimes. And then what you're going to want to do is take your glue, and you don't want to put your glue on the whole body. It would be very hard and messy to work with, but you could put the glue on the face part. You don't need a lot of glue. You just want to spread it all the way out, and then you're going to take the cotton that you have unrolled, and you're going to put it around on his face and make him nice and furry. And sometimes it's hard to start unrolling the cotton ball, so you can just pull it apart. And so now he has fur all over his face. It'd be nice and warm. And so now you can go ahead, and put glue on part of the body. You don't want to put it all over everything because it's messy. And then you just stretch it out, stretch your fur out on the body where you put the glue. And then once you've gotten that part of the glue done, covered, you go ahead and put some more glue on. So you might want to have all of your cotton balls rolled out before you start the gluing process or part of your craft. So see how the one cotton ball will cover a good part of his body. And then I'm going to finish that and do the tail part. And so I had 6 cotton balls. And you see it covered my whole fox. He's now nice and furry. And he has to sit somewhere nice and quiet so he can dry before I can play with him. And then the legs, and see, glue and cotton balls will stick together. I would normally have these attached to the body already, but I'm just going to show you how easy it is to glue the fur onto the leg. And just take it and put it right on there. And so then he's got a furry leg also. So once he's finished drying, he's going to look like this little friend that you can take along and play with. Have fun.